I am tired of Black stories only being based in trauma. I am also sick of non Black Americans insinuating that the Black experience is only based in trauma. I'm a writer. I love to write. I wrote poems, I've written a book or two, and I'm very deliberate in not creating stories that continue the narrative that Black people's backgrounds, our stories that we talk about, are purely trauma based. So, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that there's a new film coming out this year called Is God Is. I'm fully aware that it was a stage play converted into a movie, all that stuff. I still have an issue with the fact that these types of movies, these types of stories are at the forefront of almost every Black American director. Even like I love Jordan Peele with all my heart. Like I love when he was in Key and Peele. I loved his movies, but I still struggle with the fact that in his movies too, Black people are being traumatized. I would like to know why other Black writers think that that is the only type of story you can tell. Additionally, I want Black audiences to think about why is that the only type of story you are willing to consume? Because if, like, Moonlight came out, so many Black Americans were outraged at Moonlight because even Moonlight was about trauma. It was about the trauma of knowing yourself and your sexuality and growing up and learning. It was still trauma based, but there was still a small element of love in there. But Black Americans were like, fuck that. I struggle with that. I also struggle with billionaires like Tyler Perry, whose entire platform has been based on Black women trauma. Like, I grew up watching his stage plays because, family. And even as a child, I did not understand why all of his stage plays were some Black woman being mistreated by a Black man, and that the only way out of that was through God or through a light skinned Black man. And I didn't understand why my family would make it their mission to get the newest play that was the same regurgitated, lazy ass story of Black trauma. And as an author myself, I don't understand why that is almost the most immediate narrative some Black authors go for. And it's making me angry because the more stories that we tell that are strictly Black trauma, that is reinforcing the idea that our entire experience is trauma. It is not. It is absolutely not. You're telling me that in the fucking years of the Black experience of Black people in this country, you cannot find a single positive or even neutral story to talk about without it being something traumatic. And I get it. I get it in some regards. Like Hidden Figures, that in its way, to me, was another trauma story. But at the end of the day, it proved that Black women were the ones that did the job. But why was that the only story that they could tell? You're telling me that in the history of Black people, you cannot find a Black person who you can tell a positive story about. That's absurd. Additionally, your inability to write Black people outside of reality, it bothers me too. So you're telling me you can't think of any fantastical, elemental, fucking space age shit to talk about Black people? But no, it's always, we're here in the United States in this time. We're either slaves, we're either whores, we're either crackheads, we're either pimps, dealers, deadbeats, baby mamas. You cannot tell me that you cannot fathom writing a fantasy story about a Black person. And I know people are going to be like, well, what was A Wrinkle in Time? Like, the main character was Black and Oprah was in it. Okay? The book didn't emphasize that they were fucking Black. That wasn't the point. My point is, many stories from Black writers and authors are always circling the drain of trauma. And that can be for many reasons. The biggest one being they know it's going to sell. They know that people want to go see Black people be traumatized. They want something to write, like, news stories about. They want something to be like, during Black History Month. Like, that makes me feel like you're a sellout. Because if you're not even willing to risk not being the top billing, because you're like, well, then I guess we're going to make them slaves. I guess we're going to make them, they're going to be beat by their fathers and set fire because that's going to make money. You, at some point, as like a group of people, we have to come to terms with the fact that we have contributed to that narrative unnecessarily. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot sit here and tell me that no experience from a Black person that you've ever talked to has been positive. Or that you cannot fathom a Black experience without trauma. And like, for me, I've written a horror book. And it's all about specifically just like women getting the comeuppance, doing the damn thing. But at no point did any of the stories say, and then, she was Black, so this happened, bad things happened to the Blackie, but she came on top because of God. I am so sick of mediocre writing. Like, here's a test. Go and try to write like a basic story, just a one-pager, a quick thing about a Black person without trying to emphasize how Black and how traumatized they are. And then do the same thing about a white person. Because I think some authors cannot fathom writing Black people without some sort of scar, some sort of downfall. But when it comes to writing white people or non-white people, they're strong, they're courageous. If there is trauma attached to them, they've overcome it, and everything is better because of it, and they will no longer be in that situation. But always Black stories it's cyclical. There's a cycle of abuse. You got out of it this time, but you're going to fall back into abuse. You're going to fall into addiction, and it is mind-numbing. Is God Is coming out, and the story revolves around just two girls who were assaulted by their father. He burned them, and their mother instructs them to take revenge. And the story's about them deciding whether or not they'll take revenge or seek mercy. Why the fuck do I want to watch that? Why would I want to watch two Black girls who were burned by their father and their mother, who is traumatized herself, telling them, kill your dad? Why the fuck would I want to watch that? And even at the end of the story, if it was like, it was all a dream, I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of the dreams of Black people being just nightmares. Yup, like, and I've been recently trying to write a book. I'm not good at fantasy. Not good at fantasy. But I am actively trying to write a fantasy book that the character's Black, but it's not gonna be about their trauma. It's not gonna be about like, oh, they were a Black wizard and they had to overcome the prejudice of the white wizards and good Lord Almighty. Like, I'm not gonna write that fucking story, because we are more than the trauma that was inflicted upon us, or the trauma we inflict upon each other. And the issue is the more stories that we have that come to this will reinforce the Black experience. We even have fucking non-Black people, like Africans, coming over here saying they want to strap bombs to their fucking chest to blow us up. Because to everyone outside of this country, the Black experience is traumatic and pain. And that is the only thing that we are worthy of receiving. So I am begging Black authors, Black writers, Black creators, stop writing about fucking trauma. Don't let that be the only way you can communicate to an audience. Because it's trauma porn. People will salivate at the idea of you being hurt, but if they cannot smile at your praise or at your goodwill, or if good things are happening to you, that is an issue. And as an author, I'm sick of it. I will not patronize any fucking movie about fucking Black trauma anymore. Like, I'm not going to invest in that shit, and you shouldn't either. High key, stop watching this shit. Stop consuming it. It is not who we are.